But then if we can now focus on the challenges of delivering on those KPIs when the consumers obviously care about that you're making your promises come true, you're delivering on time, and mostly and hopefully even before the promised time. What are you both seeing, Agus and Radu? If we have to, let's say, compare into the global north, the more developed countries, what are you seeing that are now the main challenges of making sure that this promise can be kept?
I'll just quickly share because I think you have a lot more experience with this, Agus. But I can mostly speak Europe and then Southeast Asia, China related. Um, I think there's two sides to these coins, to these promises. So one, we as consumers perhaps have gotten used to too much for zero money, right? So I think there's a trend of companies starting to charge for returns, starting to charge for expedited logistic services, which is normal because for a long time, specifically in Southeast Asia, there were huge amounts of money being spent by Lazada is a player and that was bought by Alibaba. There's another player, for example, Shopee. They were basically paying for all of that.
Hmm.
Consumers were not. That's not sustainable. That's not a business model. And I'll be curious to hear also from Agus how it works in South America. Um, that's one angle to it, which is very bottom line driven, right? So ultimately, if it costs the marketplace money to deliver that parcel, at some point it eats into the bottom line and it's not profitable. The second aspect that is increasing nowadays is a sustainability aspect, where we clearly know, and a lot of countries, I mean, again, there's differences, right? I think the more developed countries, the European countries, the North American countries, they're a lot more advanced, let's say, in implementing legislation, even in tracking this, even. It's coming to, I think, all over the world in that sense, but it's not sustainable that, I order something and then I get it the next day. Not necessarily, right? And nor is it necessarily useful, right? So I think KPIs are important. Obviously, there's the expectations of the customers of speed, fast, and so on. But I'm happy to hear such ideas that Agus, I haven't seen this model implemented in Southeast Asia yet, where you can basically bulk all your different deliveries in one day and say, look, just deliver whatever I ordered over the course of the week, deliver it on Sunday, and I'm good. I think we need more of that. So I guess what I'm saying is that one, there's what I have seen as patterns is that companies start to charge more and more. It's not that you get delivery free, you get returns free, you get everything free as a consumer. I think that is, at least in the parts of the world that I'm most familiar with, is slowly but surely doing away with. And I think companies are more and more experimenting with how can we almost educate the customer that, look, you don't need it tomorrow. Certain things you may be okay to wait. And then, we give you a discount, or we give you a batch order, or we give you whatever. The key then is that you obviously need to deliver on that promise, because if you say that you're going to deliver on Sundays, but you don't do it, then of course you can forget about the client return. So these are some initial thoughts.
Yeah, I think that Radu alludes to one big thing, which is cost, and that is why we've been trialing a bit more the slow deliveries and the consolidated just 1 day a week delivery, just to make sure that we're
And
able
sir, can
to.
you mention a little bit to the audience what you mean by slow delivery? I think that's not clear for everybody.
Yeah. So typically, let's say that you live in Sao Paulo, or close region, and you want to, or let's do this. Let's say that you live in Rio de Janeiro, right? And so most of the goods that you're going to buy are still going to come from Sao Paulo. So if you go into the Mercado Libre site today, you buy an item, you're probably going to get it next day, right? It's unless there's big, weather issue or whatever, you get it next day. What that means is that we have line hauls coming out at a specific time out of our facilities in Sao Paulo every day, right? So that means, some days typically Mondays is a high demand because some purchases accumulate during the weekend. And so Mondays, that line haul might be full at 80%. But then Friday, Thursday might be full at 50%, 60%, whatever. So uh, if you're able to say, hey, I'll give you a slower delivery, so you won't get it next day, you get it in between 3 days and 5 days, and you might be willing, if that delivery is getting paid for, which is typically for cheaper items, right? If that delivery is getting paid for, you might want to do it, receive a slower delivery for lower cost. But then what I'm able to do is say, when I'm going to send that item in that line haul, so I can rebalance a bit the load of the line hauls, and so make it efficient. So it's not that I'm making it cheaper for you because you're going to buy more. That is part of the reasoning. But the other one is that I'm able to balance a bit more my network. And because if you're always working at the fastest pace possible, you're going to have some inefficiencies by design. Because again, if you want to always be able to deliver next day in Rio de Janeiro, you need to have a line haul that leaves no later than 11 p.m. from Sao Paulo to be able to make it next day to Rio, and that's just how it is. But then that means that it leaves, if it's 40% full, if it's 60% full, if it's 80% full. So what we're trying to
Yep.
do is rebalance that with slow deliveries. With with delivery day is a bit similar, although the benefit comes much more from the last mile. Um, b- if you're able, let's say that you buy on average 3 packages per week, right? On your on e-commerce, and you receive one on Monday, one on Wednesday, one on Friday. Whatever. If you consolidate, what happens is that last mile vehicle will deliver 3 packages on your doorstep on one day, and the costs of last mile are much more proportional to the number of stops than to the number of packages that it carries, right? So if you're able to consolidate a bit more, in fewer stops, more packages per stop, you're able to make denser, more dense last mile routes and reduce the cost of last mile. So that's a bit the thinking and the rationale behind, the Mercado Libre delivery day.